My dad called the second I clocked out. His voice was flat, like he was ordering room service. 30 people are coming. You handle it. Make it perfect. I said yes. I always said yes. Then I went home and packed a bag. But what froze the family wasn't my disappearance. It was what I left behind. Proof that for years, their perfect holiday had been fully sponsored by my silence. The call came in the freezing hospital parking lot. Glenn Howard didn't ask about my day. He issued a decree. An upscale dinner for 30. Prime rib, crystal, real linens. Make me look good. He finished and hung up. The old script played in my head. If I said no, I'd be the villain, the drama queen ruining Christmas. So I said yes. But in my silent apartment, something broke. A single taut thread, holding a heavy tapestry together for decades, simply gave way. I stared at my suitcase. I wasn't packing to go early and scrub baseboards. I was packing to leave. I remembered how it started, with love. After Mom died, I stepped up to hold the grieving family together. That first year, Dad hugged me and said I'd saved him. I wore that gratitude like a crown, but the crown became a collar. By the second year, my help was an expectation. By the third, a demand. Tradition, he called it. The definition of perfect, inflated yearly, funded entirely by my bank account. I was a hospital administrator, not heiress. Yet every December, I swiped my card for hundreds in gourmet food, expensive wine, and professional cleaning. Also, Glenn could play the generous patriarch. The bitterest pill was the erasure. Last Christmas, sweating in the kitchen, I heard his toast. I wanted everything perfect for you all. The room cheered. Aunt Janice later chirped, Lucy just loves to be busy. They'd rewritten my servitude as a quirky hobby. That night, I confronted the numbers. A bank statement graph showed my December spending over 5 years. A jagged, growing spike totaling over $8,000. My emergency fund, my car repair, a dream vacation, all gone to buy Glenn's applause. My best friend Tessa was my witness. You're not an employee, she said. You're volunteer tribute. She held up a mirror. Are you going to play the role this time? No, iuisparat. Then, louder, no. I booked a room at a coastal in 3 hours away. I texted my father. Something came up. Work trip. Won't be around for a few days. Then I powered off my phone. The connection was severed. But first I had a stop to make. At 4:45 a.m., I let myself into the Hollow Creek house. Glenn's snores rumbled upstairs. In the kitchen's dim light, I conducted a silent asset separation. I took the saffron, the aged balsamic, the imported cheeses, the prime rib, the shrimp, the good wine, every gourmet item I'd bought. I left the generic coffee, the cheap vodka, the half-eaten crackers. I wasn't ransacking. I was resetting the house to its Glen standard model. I stripped the dining table of my linens, my silver, my crystal. I placed it all in a storage room, then padlocked the door. I called and canceled the cleaning service I paid for. Finally, I logged into my bank's app and slashed the limit on the family credit card Glenn carried to $100. On the kitchen island, I left his spare key and a note. I am not cooking. I am not cleaning. I am not serving. Have a perfect Christmas. Then I drove toward the dawn, feeling gravity release its hold on my bones for the first time. The digital fallout began by mid-morning. 14 missed calls. Texts from Glenn progressing from irritation to panic. Where is the food? The house is a mess. You need to bring everything back right now. Not once did he ask if I was okay. Aunt Janice called, deploying weaponized gratitude. We're all so relieved you're handling things, she cooed. A masterclass in manipulation. When I refused to return, her tone sharpened. You're going to let him fail? Then, a text from my cousin Mike. His family was arriving tonight. The old rescue reflex kicked in hard. I was halfway to my car before I forced myself to stop. Let them arrive. Let them see it. I walked into the brutal wind off Lake Michigan, letting the resistance remind me that walking away was hard work. The call that changed everything came from an unknown number. It was Marissa Lane. The family matriarch Glenn was so desperate to impress. Her voice was a scalpel. "I'm standing in your father's kitchen, Lucy. He's telling everyone you're having a mental health crisis. That you snapped." She paused. "I need the truth. Who pays for Christmas?" The question I'd waited a decade for. "I do," I said, my voice steady. "I pay for everything. The food, the wine, the cleaning. Every year." "I see," Marissa said, her tone turning to ice. "Stay at your hotel. Do not save him." Minutes later, Mike's texts painted the scene. Marissa had walked into the living room and asked Glenn, in front of everyone, to show the receipt for the prime rib. The room fell dead silent. Aunt Janice, crumbling under pressure, admitted she'd seen me pay years ago. The conspiracy of convenience was unraveling. "He is cooked," Mike texted. They ordered pizza. Mike sent a photo. The majestic table was covered in grease-stained boxes and paper plates. People were laughing, relaxed. The caption read, "Best Christmas Eve in years. No stress. I ate a room service burger alone. Paid for with my own money. Tasted like freedom." I returned to Hollow Creek after the holiday. The house was messy, smelling of pepperoni and cardboard. Glenn looked deflated. Over bitter instant coffee, I laid out the new constitution. No more mandates, shared costs, shared labor, an end to the perfect lie. He admitted, quietly, "I don't know how to do it." For the first time, it sounded like a confession, not a weapon. "Then let it be simple," I said. "We ordered Thai takeout and split the bill." He handed me a 20. We ate in the messy living room watching a game. It was the most honest meal we'd ever shared. At a tense family meeting in January, I distributed color-coded spreadsheets, the $8,640 proof of my subsidized labor. The numbers sat in the center of the coffee table like an indictment. The room was shamed into a profound silence. Aunt Janice, twisting a napkin, looked from the paper to my face, her eyes filling. "I knew," she whispered, her voice trembling. "I saw you struggling and I called it helpful. I'm so sorry, Lucy. I was a coward." It wasn't the brushed-off apology I expected. It was an absolution I didn't know I needed. Glenn stared at the total, his face ashen. When Marissa asked, point blank, if he'd ever reimbursed me, he couldn't lie. "No," he said, the single word echoing in the quiet room. He looked at me, and for the first time I saw shame, not defiance. "I wanted the credit," he admitted, his voice raw. "I wanted to look like the big man, and I let you pay for my vanity. I treated you like staff." He stood, walked over, and placed his spare house key on the table between us. "I'm taking back the expectation," he said. "You're my daughter, not the manager. If you visit, you knock. I'll answer." He then wrote me a check, the first installment of his repayment. I took it. Accountability, I was learning, was its own form of love. The following December, the air at Hollow Creek was different, lighter. Charged not with dread, but with a tentative, collective effort. The guest list was halved, a conscious choice. The table was a beautiful mosaic of mismatched serving dishes. Janice's slightly burnt green bean casserole, Bob's store-bought ham, my pumpkin pie, and in the kitchen, Glenn Howard, in a flour-dusted apron, squinted at a recipe card for scalloped potatoes, muttering, "What does fold in the cheese mean?" 20 minutes later, he presented his dish. The top was too brown, the sauce suspiciously runny. "It might be terrible," he announced to the room, his shoulders tense. Marissa took the first bite. We all watched. "It's a crunchy," she declared. A beat of silence hung. Then my cousin Mike snorted. "It's also hot," he said, heaping a large portion onto his plate. A wave of warm, forgiving laughter filled the room. It was the sound of a family that had stopped performing and started showing up. Glenn sat down in the middle of the chatter, not at the head of the table. He tried his potatoes, made a face, and then laughed at himself. The defensive pride was gone. In its place was a weary, genuine humility that made him seem more present, more real than ever before. I sat in a velvet dress, my feet up on a chair, sipping the $20 Cabernet I'd brought. My only task had been dessert. No timers buzzed in my head. No invisible checklist haber. I was simply a guest. As the easy conversation flowed around me, I realized the perfect Christmas we chased was a ghost. It had died in that frozen parking lot a year ago, but from its ashes, this imperfect, shared, fair gathering had grown. It was nourishing in a way no prime rib ever was. My father caught my eye from across the table. He didn't offer a grand toast. He simply raised his glass, a small, acknowledging smile on his face. "Merry Christmas, Lucy." "Merry Christmas, Dad." I clinked my glass to his. I didn't have to make him look good anymore. He was finally learning to stand on his own, and I was finally free to sit down and enjoy the meal.